Big news in the Premier League today as Fulham have sacked Slavisa Jokanovic after a run of 5 points from 12 matches. They've replaced him with Claudio Ranieri, who famously guided Leicester to the Premier League title in 2016, and the Italian has signed a multi-year contract at Craven Cottage. Fulham are currently bottom of the Premier League table, having lost 6 games in a row and are without a win in 9. Ranieri will start his reign as Fulham manager on Saturday the 24th of November at home to Mark Hughes' Southampton, followed by fixtures against 2 of Ranieri's former clubs, Chelsea and Leicester. Welcome to Premier League today on the day that Fulham have replaced Slavisa Jokanovic with Claudio Ranieri. For more on this, we can go live to Craven Cottage, and our reporter standing by is Paul Balverston. Paul, a very good afternoon. Please talk us through the events which ultimately led to the club sacking Jokanovic.
Well, this decision, it came a little bit out of the blue today, about 9:15 UK time, so about a little over 4 hours ago. It also came just over a fortnight since the chairman here, Shahid Khan, had given the manager his very public backing, saying, "Slav's our guy." We knew it was going to be tough in the Premier League, but he had full confidence and faith in the players and manager. But since then, they've been knocked out of the League Cup and extended their losing streak in the Premier League to 6 matches. So that's why the announcement came today. Now, after Sunday's disappointment at Anfield and that controversial opening goal that famously came just 14 seconds after Fulham on this decision, because the chairman and his son, the director of football operations here, Tony Khan, have said that they have been interviewing potential candidates over the last few days and that Claudio Ranieri was the obvious and mutual choice. So it seems that decision was taken even before the game at Liverpool. They have released a statement paying tribute to Jokanovic, saying, "I wasn't anticipating having to make this announcement relating to Slavisa, and I wish the circumstances were such that I didn't have to. But our path this season has led me to make what I know is the correct decision at the right time for our players, the club and our supporters. Slavisa will always have my appreciation and respect for everything he did to return Fulham to top-flight football. I'm hoping everyone in the Fulham family shares my heartfelt sentiments for Slavisa and joins me in wishing him success and good fortune wherever his next stop may be."
Well, Paul, you know, Shahid Khan says he knows that this is the correct decision to sack Jokanovic. Why is he so certain? And do you think that this decision comes as a surprise for the Fulham fans?
I've spoken to a few. There is certainly surprise at the timing of the announcement, certainly sadness too that it hasn't worked out for Jokanovic. He was a very popular manager, and they certainly share the chairman's appreciation and gratitude for returning the club to the Premier League after 4.5 years away. But given the results so far, that 6-game losing streak, the fact they've taken only 5 points from their opening 12 games, the surprise isn't huge. It is really just sadness. He was a popular figure. He was in charge for about 144 games, I think it was, and like I say, had taken them through the playoffs twice, 2 playoff finals, and finally returned them to the Premier League. One fan has even said that he feels as sad today hearing this news as he did as a general football fan when he heard that Claudio Ranieri was sacked as Leicester just 9 months after achieving the seemingly impossible by leading them to the title. But saying that, the general feeling does seem to be that something had to be done, and any anger there is certainly isn't at the board, directed at the board. It's directed at the players for letting their manager, and a very popular manager, down, especially after they spent £100 million, more than £100 million over the summer on talent that they hoped would see them push into the top 10 of the table. But despite Ranieri as well, his extraordinary achievements at Leicester, there doesn't seem to be widespread elation that he's coming in here. It's not quite the downcast reaction that he received when he first arrived at the King Power Stadium, but they're certainly also not partying in the streets thinking that they're going to emulate Leicester by pulling off the impossible and becoming Premier League champions.
So Ranieri, the new man at the helm, we heard from Fulham that they have been looking at potential candidates for the past week.
Yes, and they said that Ranieri was the mutual and obvious choice, but there are widespread rumours in the English press right now that actually he wasn't the #1 candidate they were looking for. It was Arsene Wenger, and he actually turned down the job, according to a lot of speculation and claims in the English media today. But that's after he vowed, of course, never to take over another Premier League club, having left Arsenal after so many years in charge just at the end of last season. Now, whether or not that's true, Shahid Khan's comments about the new manager really couldn't be more glowing. In that statement again, he says that to make a change without having the right answer or succession plan was not an option. So having someone of Claudio's calibre ready to accept our challenge was comforting, but most of all, essential. Claudio is risk-free and ready-made for the Premier League, and particularly so for what we need at this moment at Fulham. His recent body of work with Leicester City is literally legendary. And then you look at Claudio's experience with Chelsea and big clubs throughout Europe, and it's pretty evident we're welcoming an extraordinary football man to Fulham Football Club. And Ranieri himself has also issued a statement. We're expecting to see him in a press conference in perhaps a couple of days. They're looking at Friday, we think, at the moment. But he has had this message for Fulham fans and the wider football community, saying that he's clearly delighted to be back in the Premier League 18 months after being sacked by Fulham. As he says, it's an honour to accept Mr. Khan's invitation, an opportunity to lead Fulham, a fantastic club with tradition and history. The objective at Fulham should never be to merely survive in the Premier League. We must at all times be a difficult opponent and should expect to succeed. This Fulham squad has exceptional talent that's contrary to its position in the table. I know this team is very capable of better performances, which we will work on straight away as we prepare for Southampton at the Cottage.
Finally, Paul, an interesting start for Ranieri when you look at the fixtures to come.
It certainly is. I mean, that game against Southampton couldn't be bigger, really, at this stage of a season. Southampton just hovering above the bottom three themselves in 17th place, the position they finished last season in. They're really struggling at the moment, only managed 8 goals in the whole season so far, and that will be a big celebration here at Craven Cottage. There's always a big lift whenever a new manager takes charge, and you never know, a big win for Fulham against Southampton in that fixture could even lift them out of the bottom three straight away. But it's the next 2 fixtures that really catch the eye, teams that Claudio Ranieri couldn't be more familiar with. He'll travel just the 1.5 miles across West London for his first away game at Stamford Bridge, where he was manager, of course, with Chelsea, and then what's sure to be an emotional reunion with his old club Leicester back here at Craven Cottage as he takes on the team that he took to that extraordinary Premier League triumph. Now, Ranieri is the man who brought Jokanovic into English football. He signed him for Chelsea in the year 2000. They had a season together at Stamford Bridge. He's now the man to take him out of English football, if you like. And Jokanovic must be wondering whether the Premier League really is for him, because of his 144 games in charge, only 12 were in the Premier League, and it's only 3 years since he won promotion with Watford, but was then replaced before he'd had the chance to have even one Premier League match in charge with them.
Thank you so much, Paul, for that great update. If we get any more news from Fulham during the show, we will, of course, keep all of you up to date. Well, joining me in the studio today is a man who played under Claudio Ranieri at Chelsea, and he was a key figure for the Italian when Leicester won the title 3 seasons ago. It's a very warm welcome to Robert Huth. Robert, hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. First things first, were you surprised with the disappointment today?
I was surprised that Claudio took it so quickly. But in football, you haven't got many games to show your worth, so it feels inevitable that Fulham made a decision and to sack the manager. That's
right. Yeah, I mean, that came as a shock for many Fulham supporters that they've actually sacked Jovanovic.
Yeah, I mean, it's the famous, 2 weeks ago, Khan gave him a vote of confidence, and it's almost like the worst thing the chairman can do. And now he's, he pulled the trigger, got rid of Jokanovic, and yeah, Claudio's in.
And your former boss now back in Premier League football 18 months after being sacked by Leicester.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for him. He loves London, and he clearly can think he can do a job with Fulham. I assume that's why he took it. He believes in the players they have there, and good luck to him.
Can he keep them up, you think?
It'd be a tough one. The only good thing is, they've still got plenty of games left, got another transfer window to get his players in, and yeah, if there's anyone as good as Claudio, he can do it, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think he needs to focus on to really turn their form around?
Well, it's the obvious you know, the defence leaking goals. You know, I've been worked under him. I know how upset he used to get when we conceded goals. So I'm pretty sure that's right at the top of his list to sort out.
His management style, what can you say about that, Ranieri?
Well, I guess it's typically Italian, hard-working. It's all about the team. It's not about the individual. Make sure you know your tactics before the game. You work on it during the week, and I'm sure he will do exactly that with the guys at Fulham.
Fulham's already spent over what, £100 million. Do you think that Ranieri will be targeting some more signings in January?
I think so. Yeah, most managers would probably try and get a couple of their own players in, move a few players on, and help or trying to improve the squad.
And you're thinking, obviously, if you look at the key areas, you spoke about the defence, so they've been poor.
I think that'd be his main priority to look at defenders. Maybe, I mean, they've got to keep changing the goalkeepers, but I think holding midfield through the middle of a pitch, I think that'd be his top priority.
Yeah, and you're a free agent, aren't you?
At the moment, I am, yeah.
Have you been keeping touch with Claudio at all about a potential move?
I haven't, no. You know, the circumstances when he left were, you know, quite upsetting for him. I'd guess, you know, having such great success with us at Leicester, so it's pretty much, you know, the second he left the building, you know, you don't tend to keep in touch with many managers.
Well, we've got someone on the line now, former Fulham midfielder, and that's Steve Sidwell joining us on the phone. Steve, welcome to the show. What was your reaction to Fulham sacking Slavisa Jokanovic earlier on today?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was not surprising in a way because of the form that they've been in recently and the rate of knots where they're leaking in goals. You know, it's normally this international period where sometimes you do see a manager leave his post because obviously it gets the club enough time to get someone in, but they've obviously acted very quickly in replacing in Jokanovic. So not surprisingly overall, I thought there would have been enough time to turn it around. You know, there's still plenty of games to go, but I can see why Fulham have acted now. And
replacing him with the Ranieri, do you think this was the correct decision?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think, you know, his career to date, Premier League winner. You know, you can see his rapport that he has with his players is great. I think he's going to be someone that's to go in there and strip it right back to basics. You look at when obviously Leicester won the Premier League and the settled starting 11 that was playing sort of week in, week out. That's what needs to happen now at Fulham. They need to get this back four really sorted, really tight, and then because obviously attacking wise they can create chances, they can score. It's just a bit of confidence maybe on the other end, but they need to keep that back door really tight, really closed, and then start creeping up the league.
Do you think he's the perfect individual to keep them in the Premier League?
Listen, I think, as I just said there, the appointment, I think it was the right appointment. You know, I can see with talking to ex-players like the one that you've got in the studio now. The rapport that he has with his players is fantastic. A lot of people speak highly enough of him. You know, he can get the basics done. He breathes confidence within a squad, within a changing room, and I think that's probably what's needed. You know, it's a fresh start for all the players. That when he turns up and he has the full squad probably after the internationals and just before the Southampton game. So it's an important start that he'll want to get off to, especially against that Southampton team that are just above them. And I can see them slowly climbing the league.
Well, we have your former teammate Robert Huth in the studio. I believe you once sold a house to Robert. Is that right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did see he bought my former house, and obviously I was lucky enough to share a season and a bit with him at Stoke. So I've got the scars and the bruises to show that as well, because he certainly did train how he played day in, day out.
Rob, what Robert's done is he's picked a team of the best players that he has played with and a team of the best players that he's played against. And I'm looking at the list here. There's no Sidwell in either midfield.
That's shocking.
Don't hang up. It's all good.
I must be first on the sub, surely.
Yeah, my fifth team, I think. Yeah, first up for that.
Listen, obviously, just regarding obviously the guest there that you've got with Robert Huth, he would be someone ideal. I heard you speaking then about with Claudio, and is he still speaking to him? He would be someone ideal there to go into Fulham really shore that up, a captain, a leader as such, to go in there, really pull that sort of back four unit together, and someone with all these characteristics is definitely suited to Fulham Football Club.
That's nice. You never that nice to me normally, so normally I just get abused. But
I'll take the 10%, Hoofy, don't worry.
Love that.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us on the line. All best of luck.
Thank you very much.
See you soon, mate.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be elaborating on Robert's team of the best individuals that he's played with and played against after the break, so stay with us.
Dropped in as well. Robert Huth comes up from the back. It's a firm header and it's a goal for Stoke City. Robert Huth. It's there. Robert Huth does it again. And it's a thumper from Huth. Huth with the header. It's free. Sensational.
Well, he's a German professional footballer who most recently played as a centre-back for Leicester City. 3 Premier League titles to his name, and he's made the most Premier League appearances for a German footballer, Robert Huth. Great to have you in studio. What are you up to these days? Because you haven't officially retired.
I haven't. No, I'm just taking a bit of a break from the game. The next decision I'm going to take, I want to make sure it's the right one. So if it takes another couple of weeks or months, then I'll make it. But at the moment, I'm enjoying working with yourself, so it's going great.
Fantastic. Well, you're here today to talk about some of the best players that you've had the great pleasure and honour of playing with, and some of your best foes as well. I'm really interested to get to know your team, your 1 to 11, and we're going to start it off by talking about the players that you've played with.
Yep.
I know it's a difficult one. I mean, just looking at the kind of individuals that you've played in your long spell in the Premier League.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a straightforward job
to
pick my best 11 players, but you tend to forget a few players that you played with, so I really had to, sit back and think about how I'm going to approach this. But hopefully it's a good team. Hopefully you enjoy it. All
right, let's take a look. Let's start off with what is happening at the back. Your goalkeeper.
Yeah, a goalkeeper, Peter Cech. Really straightforward decision for me. I was amazed when he first came to Chelsea. I was there before he signed up, and he came in, changed the game for us. Had an amazing time at Chelsea, both with me and probably more without me when I was there. But what a guy!
I mean, you saw it already when he came in. You look back, 2004-05 season, the number of minutes that he went without conceding a goal. He really was such a pillar of strength between the sticks, wasn't he?
Absolutely. And Mourinho being such a fan of defending, keeping clean sheets, he was the perfect guy for it. I think he kept 26 clean sheets in his first season. I think he still holds the record for number of clean sheets overall. I mean, he's been one hell of a keeper for the Premier League.
What is he like to have behind you? Was he quite a communicator, organiser?
Initially, he was a lot quieter than he sort of is now, but it's something, the new language, something got used to it. But yeah, I mean, it didn't take him long. He wanted to win the Premier League. He knew he had to be out there, authoritative, talking to his defenders, helping him out. And yeah, it's just great to have behind you.
Yeah, all right, so let's put him down there. Peter Cech. Was this an easy decision when you look at your goalkeeper at Chelsea, at Leicester?
Yeah, it's probably one of the easier decisions I had to make with the keeper because he was that outstanding, and the records speak for himself.
Fantastic footballer, without a doubt. So that's a good start, great start. Let's take a look at what's happening in defence.
Yeah, although he's not a natural right back, I picked William Gallas. Only simply the years I was there, he could play left back, right back, he played centre back. He was just an outstanding athlete, leader of the game, and just good to have around the group.
Yeah, he was a versatile defender as well, so I don't think he'd struggle with that position.
Well, I couldn't think of a better right back than him. And that period at Chelsea for 2 or 3 years where they were the best team in the country, arguably one of the top teams in Europe, and yeah, he was part of that team.
And when you look back at your time at Chelsea as well, defensively, I mean, this was a side that was extremely effective.
Absolutely. And when I came through, I mean, we're talking, I was 18, 19 at that age, you know, I couldn't ask for a better sort of setup to be in at that time. Even though I would have liked to play, you know, a lot more games, but just having these guys around, you know, teaching you the game, little tricks here and there, how to be positioned, how to get yourself in a better position. I mean, I couldn't have been, you know, luckier or fortunate in that perspective. All
right, let's add Gallas onto the list. And as disciplined as he was, you'd also find him making those forays up front, right?
He did, yeah. He's got a few important goals in his Chelsea career. They sort of dried up a bit later on, but again, Jose was such a big fan of set pieces and making sure you contribute to the team. And, you know, you're not just a defender; you're there when it's an attacking set play to score a few goals.
Yeah, he had the strength, but he also had the pace.
Absolutely, yeah. He's almost perfect shape to be a fullback, although arguably is a better centre-back.
All right. So what was he like in the dressing room, though? Was he a leader?
Initially, he was quiet. I mean, he struggled a little bit with the language when he first came over, but back in the day, the dressing room was such an amazing place to be in for a player. It didn't take him long at all. Even if he did struggle a bit with the language, he bought into the whole ethic of the teamwork.
All right. Your next defender.
Which is World Cup winning Master Desailly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to watch him even before I came to Chelsea. So when he was still there and I signed for Chelsea, it was just absolutely amazing. It was, you know, a boyhood hero, the way he played the game. I've been watching the Champions League finals, the World Cup finals, the Euros. And surprisingly, he's such a nice guy. And he, you know, although it was towards the end of his career, he just wanted to help the likes of me, all the other players that come through, and you know, he's been there, he's done it. He just wanted to sort of pass on his knowledge, and yeah, hopefully I took a few tips of him.
And a strong personality as well. He donned the captain's armband.
Yeah, I mean, having been in the French team for so long, with the players that played in that French team back in the day, you had to be a big personality, and he was just great to have around. He was really enthusiastic, yeah, infectious, I'd say, with his personality. You
said he was an individual who helped a lot of the players. I mean, he helped the likes of William Gallas, John Terry as well. A lot of experience. What is it that you learned from him?
Just reading of the game. He had all reading of the game was towards the end of his career was, I mean, as good as you're going to see. But in his younger years, it was an absolute, you know, the rock, he used to call him. So yeah, I think he had to change the game a little bit, but he had the best of everything. It really was physically gifted, intelligent in the game, reading game. Maybe goal scoring, he could have scored a few more goals, but I mean, yeah, what a player.
You say he had to change his game a little bit. How? How did he change?
Well, the Premier League at that point became really physically, probably more than other leagues, with the money being pumped in. Sports science became a new thing. You know, players got a bit more fit, they looked after themselves a little bit better. And, you know, time does catch up with you, so you just have to read the game a bit better, get yourself in a position early. And yeah, when I saw that at that age, I was just, oh, this is a lot easier than what I'll make it look. So he certainly did his job. One
of the best that you've played alongside in defence, or the best? Would you say?
I'd say he's the best. Yeah. I mean, I only played a few games with him, so I would have loved to have played a few more games and learned from him, but you know, just the age gap was a bit too big.
All right, so you put his name down. Yep. That's Marcel. Robert says definitely the best that he's played alongside. What was Marcel's reaction when he heard that he has made it onto Robert's list of the best players that he's played with?
Thank you very much. So pleased to see that I am into your best 11. You know my commitment. We've played together. We've been sharing a lot during the training time, and we've been sweating, you know, together, you know, on the field, you know, to give our best. Another time it was for Chelsea. So love you. Thank you very much. I could see Robert, you know, very strong, you know, physically, obviously. At the same time, with the header, defensively and offensively, he was very keen and very precise, almost clinical. Every time he was going into corner, offensive and defensive, he was there touching the ball. And at the same time, somebody very focused, you know, to improve on the usage of the ball, to create the interval, you know, through the passes. So he was really, you know, improving and ready to become the best, and he has done very well. So I love it. For sure, we are mates, so I will put you also into my best 11. Having you at my side, I could fight any other players like Alan Shearer, now Quinn, Duncan Ferguson. You were there ready to fight Dan Dublin, all these tough guys. You, along me, were going to win them, you know, on every single battle. So yes, the answer is yes, definitely.
Awesome.
That's amazing, isn't it? So you're definitely going to make his team as well.
Well, very nice words, but just confirms what I said. What a great guy, infectious with personality. I mean, I just had to smile looking at his face. You know, he's got that big grin and just really caring.
Marcel was talking to us from his office out in Ghana, but did you see the trophies that are ever present? I mean, when you talk about his experience and the titles that he's won.
Oh, yeah, you know, if you could swap shoes with him, you would straight away. I mean, he's won everything, isn't he?
All right, so you were a solid centre-back, and you know a lot about another former teammate of yours, whom you're going to put next to Marcel.
Yeah, I've picked for the left side centre-back, I put John Terry. Just as good as Desiree. I've played probably a lot more games with John than I did with Marcel. Same qualities, you could see John learned from Marcel a bit more than I did, and he sort of passed on his knowledge onto Simon. And he's only 4 years older than me, and he just sort of wanted everyone to improve. And his thought process was, if I can improve Rob, the whole team will be better. And sometimes you don't get that in personalities, but I mean, his career speaks for himself. You know, he won so many things, and it's been just a great player.
Why do you say that he learned more?
Simply because he spent more time with Marcel,
okay.
And his age gap would have been closer to Marcel. So, same. I'm sure he would tell you similar sort of stories about Marcel.
Yeah, and from Marcel to John Terry, it was almost like a handing over of the baton, obviously.
Exactly, and I think at the time that's what Chelsea were sort of planning on to do. That's obviously saw John as an up-and-coming, potentially, well, England captain as he was. So I think once Marcel left, it was quite a natural sort of step for him to take the armour off him and be captain of Chelsea for many years.
So far, a very, very strong side. You're going to have... who completes the back four?
Another one that's not a left-back, but I just had to put him in because I was such a big fan. And the years we spent together at Chelsea were amazing. I keep repeating myself, but these guys just knew the game inside out. Ricardo just won the Champions League with Porto that year before he came to Chelsea, so obviously a big fan of that, watching him there. I just had to put him in, and these guys, all four of them, were the main reason at the end of the day I had to leave Chelsea, because I couldn't force my way in the team, which is probably the biggest compliment I could play these guys.
Wow, and obviously John Terry was very, very happy. We'd be very happy to have Ricardo right there next to him.
Well, you can probably swap him around, yeah.
Because I was going to say, can he play left back?
Well, he has to, might he? But yeah, I mean, in a few years later, Ricardo and John, you know, they were a centre-back pairing and did great things together. So, yeah, as long as they're sort of within 10 yards of each other, they would do a great job. Now,
do you think that he was such a strong player, Ricardo, but you think that maybe his praises weren't sung enough? Yeah,
I mean, his stature as well, he was quite a lot smaller than the other guys. When you first saw him, you're thinking, how is he going to compete? But I'll tell you what, he had a bit of nastiness in him. He could read the game, he could step in a few goals where he stepped into midfield, dropped the shoulder and scored a few goals. Certainly not underestimated in my books. Definitely up there with the Chelsea great defenders. Oh,
these two, Terry and John Terry and Ricardo, I mean, they were a fantastic pairing, weren't they? Understood each other so well, absolutely solid.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that they played 50, 60 games a season together. which just breeds confidence. You know what each other are doing, and yeah, I mean, what a player, and can't speak highly enough of him.
Okay, let's go to the middle of the park. Who's on the right of midfield?
Picked my former teammate from Leicester, Riyad Mahrez.
Okay.
Simply, he's an amazing talent. Still young, so I'm sure he's going to get better and better now at Man City, obviously. With Pep, I've seen massive improvement in his game, but when I first came out, I didn't know too much about him. It's like, this guy can play. And that was just after the African Cup of Nations, where he came back with Algeria. Yeah. I thought, wow, this guy's good. And obviously, he played more games in the Premier League, got better, had the right coaching with him and the right attitude to learn and improve.
Did you ever come up against him in training?
All the time, although I did sort of try to get out of it. You can jump the queue in front of me if whoever wants to defend against him. But this is obviously his strength. One-on-one, that's what he thrives on, whether it be out on the touch side or a bit more inside in the pitch. He loves one-on-one, he can change directions. You know, he just glides through the pitch, and it's definitely my worst nightmare. I
mean, his pace, unbelievable, and really difficult to keep tabs on him. Just as you said, gliding past defenders on the field of play.
Yeah, I'd almost say he's faster with the ball, which sounds a little bit ridiculous, but he sort of got that thing where he just touches it. You think you can nick it in front, and then you just foul him. You get a yellow card, and it's a bit of a mess. But he just glides. It's like a skier going down a hill when he's in full flow. It's magnificent to see.
And now he's just continuing to excel, of course, under Pep at Manchester City. Do you believe it was a good move for him?
Yeah, it's a bit, not gutted that it didn't go through initially, but I mean, credit to Riyad. You know, once he got over it, he just loves football. He wants to have a ball at his feet, whether it be for Leicester or training or not training. He just loves it. And I mean, they've got every chance of winning the Premier League again, which make him a two-time Premier League winner, Champions League. It's up there for him to almost touch it. So it's definitely the right move, and he's looking absolutely awesome. How
much better do you think he can become under Pep?
Well, considering he's only been there for 3.5 months, 4 months, you know, give it another year, another 18 months. I mean, he can be as good as I think he can be. He just needs to, you know, put the hard work in and believe in himself.
All right, so you've got the skill and creativity. Let's put Riyad Mahrez there. Fantastic. The team, very, very strong. Okay, who we got next?
Another former Chelsea teammate of mine, Arjen Robben. Oh. I'm going to put him on the left, put him in his right position this time. Similar age to me. I think he might have been a year older than me. Signed him for big money at the time. He was important for the game plan we had at Chelsea under Mourinho. With his pace and the counter-attack, one-on-one, with the other guys, Drogba in the middle. He was so important to us to win the title twice. And I know he's a bit unfortunate at times with injuries, but that was just due to his amazing skill, and defenders would think, you know, give him a good first hard tackle and let him know we're about. But he certainly, considering his age, you know, to make that step up from the Dutch division to the Premier League was just effortless. And another one, hard working. You see the clips here, just magic.
Just 2 years at Chelsea, but what an impact.
Yeah, I mean, 2 titles, huh? Wow. Not bad, and then moves on to another club. Yeah, he's the typical Dutch footballer. He's good with the ball at his feet, at speed, chopping and changing direction. Perfect for them for the time period under Mourinho.
Yeah, and first appearance for Chelsea, he scores a goal. Off his left? With the left, yeah?
Did he? Yeah, possibly. I mean, he scored so many.
Yeah. So the writing was on the wall.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the scouting team did a good job getting him into Chelsea.
All right, let's have Arjen down there. On the other wing. All right, now into the middle of the park in your engine room. Who's next?
I've got N'Golo Kante.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was my favourite player. I don't know what to say about him, but what hasn't been said. You know, you speak to any other player that played with him, that pretty much say the exact same thing. What I'm going to tell you now is reading of the game is sensational. The interceptions he does, the tackles he does, sets up attacks for you. And I'm sure you heard yourself, he plays for 2 players. And I agree, he's that good. And I'm so happy for him to see how well he's doing, both with France, winning the World Cup, and and obviously Chelsea.
How important was he to that side that won the title at Leicester?
Oh, huge. I mean,
Yeah?
anyone working in and around the team will tell you the same. I mean, when he first came over, I mean, he's only, you know, he's a small guy in comparison to some of the other guys. Okay, who have we signed here? You know, we didn't really know too much about him.
Yeah.
But in training, it's like, who is he? He's like this. It's unbelievable. And the first couple of games he played for us, it's actually on the wing. He was so good, we had to get him a team. But the first couple of games, we sort of had a set midfield from the season before, so we didn't want to change it too much going into the new season. So we stuck him on the left, and he was the best player on the left. And
wow.
Whenever we do the debrief after the weekend, there'd be clips of N'Golo winning the ball and setting up another attack. Absolutely amazing player.
Yeah, apparently his work ethic as well. He just was seemingly tireless.
Yeah, he's so unassuming. He's such a nice guy. He's very polite, very religious. You wouldn't know he's here. Like if he was sitting here, he'd be very quiet. You know, very shy. You could see when he lived in the World Cup, he looked embarrassed. So every time he scores a goal, man, go and celebrate. You know, it's an amazing achievement. He's like, you know, got his head down. That's the sort of guy he is. Really down to earth and just playing football because he's good at it or great at it.
Yeah. Were you disappointed that he left Leicester?
A bit of both. I could see he was a better player, and he needed to move on to, you know, a bigger, better team. You know, and proved him right. He moved on and won another Premier League, got in a French squad, won the World Cup. So can't really argue with the decision he made.
And now, if you look at the position that he plays at Chelsea with Sarri, he plays him slightly out of position. What do you make of that?
I quite like it.
Yeah.
Takes away his sort of ball-winning abilities out of the equation. He has to sort of create a few more chances, you know, get into pockets, turn on the ball, whether before was a lot deeper, you would get onto the game, intercept the pass, get a tackle. So it's in N'Golo, he never has a bad game. You know, you could stick him anywhere, he'd play well. I personally would have him a little bit deeper because I think he's great at stepping in, beating a player and then giving it to like a Hazard or like a Mahrez he did for us and let him do this stuff.
All right, so you got him in the centre of midfield. Let's get him there. Any more additions to the midfield?
Yeah, I put a little bit more offensive, Frank Lampard.
Wow.
Who, it's another one where, if I look back, when I first sort of got to Chelsea, thinking, great player. Initially, when he first signed for us, everyone was a few question marks about his ability and stuff like that squashed out in the first couple of months he was there, scoring goals, you know, making late runs. You know, he's probably one of the best guys to step in and you know, get a cutback, score a goal. And what I was surprised to see, I mean, I always worked hard on myself anyway in training and trying to improve. This guy was a different level, you know. If he can work that hard, you know, I'm embarrassed for myself. You know, I'm a lot younger than him, and so he opened my eyes in the sense of what it really takes to become as good as he is. I never quite achieved the stuff he has, but in terms of what it takes, he really opened my eye, and I don't think he realised. But I just followed him around the training. You know, if he did some spins after the training, I just thought if he's doing it, I'm doing it. You know, even though we're completely different positions, and I started doing shooting with him. But he just loved it. He loved spending extra time on the pitch, and it clearly played off for him.
2004 and 5 was more the formative years, but we saw him just quickly morphing into this very, very special player. I mean, you talk about the work that he did and how it is that he became such a special player, but what in particular really stood out for you?
His work effort. Okay. Every game, I mean, there was no bad games for Frank. I can't remember, you know, there might be, obviously, the level might be a little bit lower to other games, but it'd be a 7 out of 10, you know, and the good games we remember is when he scores 2 or 3 goals or sets one up. There's, oh, he scored again, has he? Yeah, and then 20 goals again this season. So you sort of forget, you take it for granted how good he was just by Lampard's got to have a goal, tick. You know, so you forget that the effort that goes in to be that good, and yeah, I mean, awesome. And
he redefined the role of a midfielder, didn't he? It wasn't just about being that box-to-box midfielder, but he also added numbers up front, scoring goals. Yeah,
I mean, he's the highest English or highest scorer for Chelsea. You know, with 200 goals. Yeah. You know, if you look back at the players that played for Chelsea, that's extraordinary. as thinning, and there's nothing by chance. You know, he put the effort in, day out, and it must give him great pleasure of, you know, being where he is now, being the manager at Derby, going, you know, I know what it takes to get there, and this hopefully can put his mindset onto other players, because if you've got that, then you've got a great chance.
Manager at Derby, did you see that? Does that move actually make sense?
Yeah, I think he's done really well getting it. You know, you see other managers having to start a little bit lower, but he took his time off. He did his badges. He studied the game for a few years since he retired. So, if you can get a job, go and do it. And he's clearly doing a good job, and he's only going to get better, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he said maybe one day manage Chelsea.
Yeah, that seems the natural sort of progression for him, doesn't it? You know, learn at Derby. Maybe get them promoted, get a couple of seasons in the Premier League, and you know, it's like once you've been a legend at a club like Chelsea, I'm sure if the chance would occur, then he would take it with open arms.
All right, let's get him down. So we've got Lampard there. Now we are going to focus on your goal poachers.
Yeah, we have got Didier Drogba as not too short of a player. Right at the top two are sort of alternatively. But yeah, what a player. Initially struggled when he first came, had a few injury problems. I think his diving was a little bit of an issue when he first came over. That soon got squashed by the lads, and I mean,
did someone speak to him about that?
Yeah, I think at one point it got a little bit. Come on, you know, you're big, 6'3". Strong guy, you don't need to be doing that. If anything, you need to do it to them. But same thing, he accepted it, got on with it, and just he hit everything. Coming to feet, spinning behind, the famous Didier Drogba near post run, flick on goal. I mean, there's no better player that can do that. And defensively as well, when we had him in team, and we really defending set pieces, he was the guy. I mean, you'd almost go, well, go on then, just go and head it out, and he did something. That's against us there. So yeah, that's good video. But yeah, he's just a full-on machine. Had everything: left foot, right foot, heading, and defensively could help you out.
Was he the same kind of player in training?
No. I think he sort of not saved himself for the weekend. He trained really well, like. When you play for Chelsea, you know, there's no off days. But he's certainly not as energetic in training as you would be in games.
Yeah, also a leader, right?
Yeah.
You've seen him, I mean, just before a match, really getting all of the lads involved, motivational talks. Natural. Yeah.
Really kind of natural him. He just sort of stood there, and he didn't, not an ego, he just wants everyone to do well. You know, there's not like, hey, look at me, I'm the boss here, just like, you know, if someone had a different point, he would take it on board. He didn't sort of get annoyed with someone having a different opinion to him. Yeah, okay, that's fine. You know, it's just as long as we're all doing it, it's putting in the same direction. And I mean, if you want one guy leading the line, it'd be him.
All right, let's have him. King Diddy. Yeah. Drogba. You've got a lot of leaders. Look at this line. Look at that.
Well, hopefully not too many, because that sometimes can go a bit pear-shaped.
Oh, all right. Only African player to score 100 Premier League goals, a definite goal poacher, Didier Drogba. Who's going to partner him up front?
I had to think about that one a little bit. But simply the success we had together, I had to pick Jamie Vardy for what he did for the team, for myself, for the club, for himself. And I think it's just a great story, how he's gone from where he was to where he is now, you know, like public figure, holds the record for the number of consecutive goals scored in the Premier League. And then 3 years I was at Leicester. When he switched it on, it was scary stuff.
Unbelievable. 24 goals when you won the title.
Yeah, he just missed out of winning the Golden Boot. I think Harry Kane just beat him to it, and he missed a penalty last day of the season when we lifted the trophy. It's like, that would have topped the season off for him, but you see the clips here, you know, his pace got away from the defender. It's just a nightmare. And the work he did for us, you know, whenever we were under the cosh and we needed to sort of get up the pitch with a simple ball rather than playing your way out, he's the main guy to make a rubbish ball look great. And before you know it, look at that goal there.
Unbelievable.
And before you know it, you're 50 yards up the pitch by him doing it himself. selfless run for the team.
There was a time when he nearly left, right? Do you think he made the correct decision to stay?
I think it's right in the sense of, he clearly felt he had a chance of playing another 150 games for Leicester rather than going to another club where he's going to be used differently. And knowing him as I do, I know he wants to play every game. He doesn't want to just come on. He needs games. He needs that sort of sharpness in his preparation, and coming off for a few games. I know he wouldn't be as vital as he is for us now for other teams.
I know that he's once spoken about you also being integral. He had to pick a side, and you were so close. You said you were a no-nonsense defender. He knew the importance of a strong defence in a team.
Yeah, I mean, historically, you need a solid defence to either not get relegated or win your title. It's really, the Vardys, the Drogbas, they all get the rightly so the credit, but the amount of work that goes into defending, can't be underestimated.
Yeah, he says that as fantastic as you were defensively, you'd probably see a lot of you up front as well. You like to also make those runs up front.
Initially, I did it a little bit, but not anymore now. I know my limits these days.
All right, let's have Jamie down. So this completes your very strong side of players that you've played with. We said a lot of leaders here.
Yep.
Who is your captain?
Ooh, I haven't thought about that one. I would give it to Marcel.
Okay.
Simply, he's probably the oldest one on that list.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, I'd give it to Marcel.
Marcel Desailly. Yeah.
Captain.
Okay. And now, a team with so many stars in it, who would be the correct individual to manage the side, do you think?
It's only natural that having, a lot of Chelsea players in that team to go with Jose Mourinho. I mean, the success he had instantly, from Chelsea, always been sort of there and thereabout to smashing the league. At that time, at the record points, I think 96 points, most amount of clean sheets, so many goals scored. I mean, it's just refreshing. And if I look back at the time, it was a special time because he really wanted to embrace everyone in that team. It wasn't just the 11, it wasn't just the 14, 15, it was everyone. And that was, for me at the time, was always refreshing. Normally it was the first team and then the players that don't really play. And they're there and about, but he just went, if you're going to achieve greatness, you need to buckle up and do it all together.
Yeah, and having done so much at Porto, there was a lot expected of him when he came into the Premier League at Chelsea, calling himself the special one. Yeah. What was he like during those years when he first arrived?
He was the special one.
Yeah?
You saw the clips when he came out and said, I'm the special one. Yeah. And it was, isn't he a bit arrogant? But he knew his stuff and he backed it up with the work ethic he did. The training was sensational. I've not seen anything like it. The running we used to do with previous managers went out of the window. It's all football-based. It's caught up now a little bit, other managers, but back in the day, I mean, like I said, the records went, Chelsea had them all.
Yeah, without a doubt. What was the players' reaction when he said he was the special one, when they heard that?
The players hear stuff like that all the time, there's a few confident lads anyway in the changing room, so they would have just went, can't wait to work with him, under him, and because clearly he knows what he's doing.
And the relationships, I mean, he was special to so many players in that squad, right? Tell us about the individual relationships that he had and how he was able to foster those.
The best way I can put it is, he was like, I don't know if you had a favourite teacher at school.
Yeah.
You go in, you have a really happy relationship. He or she gets the best out of you. Yeah. You like him. But somewhere along those sort of conversations, there's a line. And I always felt like I could be really comfortable with him, but there was a line where, it's Saturday, this is it. This is what we worked through all the week. Yeah. And after the game, it was similar again, where it was, friendship, maybe not the right word, professional friendship, yeah, but you definitely knew not to overstep the mark, and that's the way to do it, or he did it, he just got the best out of you. Great teacher. I mean, he taught so many players how to improve the way that they played. Yeah, I mean, his preparation was unbelievable. We had spreadsheets like here where you get information about other players, how they play, how many passes they play to the right back, and so on. Clips, I mean, this attention to detail was just, at that time, everyone was like, oh, this is amazing. Normally you just do a meeting on a Friday or a Saturday morning even. By that point, we've done all the work in a week. We know we're playing, everything was prepared. So you just rocked up on a Saturday, knowing what your plan is, how to execute it.
Now at Manchester United, how has he changed as a manager?
I feel like he lost a little bit of the arrogance. Obviously, the game has changed. It's got even bigger from, we're talking 12 years ago now, 10, 12 years ago. The tension is even higher. The scrutiny is a lot more. The players' profile got a lot bigger, with your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, everything is out there, which wasn't quite the case at that time. And the players just at the moment having a bit more of a public sort of personality as well as being a footballer, and it's clearly a bit of an issue with that at Man U.
Do you think he'll succeed? Do you see him succeeding at Man U?
Depends how you define success at Man U. Last year finishing second, against his arch rival in Pep and Man City, I think it was a good season for them. But I can't see Man U, getting anywhere close to winning the league this year.
A few people that are watching are a little surprised that you haven't picked Claudio Ranieri, given the fact that, you won that title. What an unbelievable feat at Leicester City.
Absolutely, and he was obviously clearly in the running for it. But I just feel like where I was in my career, in my learning curve, I think all the players that I played with at Chelsea at that point played a massive part in sort of knowing the game, learning about it, preparing for it. And Jose was, the head guy. If I didn't have him at that time, I don't know if I would have been so immaculate in my preparation for games and all that stuff. But he really taught me, lads, this is what I taught everyone at Chelsea. This is what you're going to have to do, this is what it takes. And that's what I needed at that time.
So Claudio, a different type of manager.
Yeah, different, just in the sense I was at a different stage of my career. You can still learn new tricks, as they say. But it was just a different stage, and the learning was more important for me at that point than it was when I was, 32, 33.
How does he compare, Ranieri, to Jose Mourinho in terms of his management style?
I'd say Claudio is a little bit more old school, if you can sort of say it, old school. I know the games we've done, but both preparation, they're so keen on getting things set up in the right way, getting the message across to the players, and yet when we're on the pitch, it's sort of limited to what you can do. And that year we had at Chelsea, the best thing he did, at Leicester, was he just sort of let the players play to their strengths. He adjusted a couple of bits. Training was a little bit different. A couple of different things we did throughout the week that we didn't have, which we needed, and he spotted that and he just adopted it.
And now Claudio Ranieri back in the Premier League, having been confirmed as Fulham manager, taking over immediately with Jokanovic having been sacked. Fantastic team here. After the break, Robert will be giving us the best of teams he played against.
When you was growing up, who was your team? Did you watch a team? Was Arsenal a team you watched?
Yeah, it was Arsenal with Titi, Patrick, Robert Pires, Sylvain Rittard. Arsenal was always playing well. So for me, even if in England it's physical, something like this, I wanted to play football.
So when you was playing Ligue 1, what's the difference in the speed of the game?
In Ligue 1, because I was a good player, so...
You're still a good player. What do you mean you was? That means you're not a good player now?
No. Like, you receive the ball, maybe you have 1 meter more.
Yes.
So you can manage the ball. But here, defenders, they don't care about who you are.
When you start your first game, Leicester, 2 minutes, bam, that's what we needed. I got frustrated where you wasn't starting as many games. And even when you was starting and scoring, you was being taken off. Was you getting frustrated with this?
Most of the chances came at the end because the defender are tired about what you did.
And then you've been taken off already.
Yeah, so that's why I was frustrated. But it was my first season. All my family say, okay, don't be like this, enjoy, great club.
Have you settled well here? Do you like London?
I love London. I came here to to discover something different. Great city. I like how people think here.
Can you just walk around, you go in London and just relax, everything's cool?
Really, sometimes I have no hats, no glasses, and people don't recognize me. When I can walk, chill, and no one know who I am, is good.
Have you ever not had your beard like this?
Maybe now, since 7 years I already have.
What do you think is going to be a good, successful season?
Win a cup is the best thing for us and for our fans.
I think it's something that I'm really proud of for the team. Team of players, team of staff, the supporters. It's a great thing to achieve in the Premier League because a good month can go a long way to helping your season.
Their best ever start to a Premier League season.
In this level, I think to be consistent is probably a bigger challenge than 3 or 4 games of success. So we've got to make sure that we hit the consistently high levels of performance that we have so far.
It's a 4th for Bournemouth.
The Bournemouth boys are sparkling in front of goal yet again.
I think it's the unity, not just with the players, but with the staff and the supporters. I think that link through the club is stronger than ever. I'm so lucky here to have just a dedicated group of people. It is an award for the whole club, and I'm very proud of everyone.
Welcome back. We were 3-time Premier League winner Robert Huth, who before the break took us through a fantastic team made up of the players that he had the great honor of playing with. Now he's going to put up a team of the best individuals that he's come up against. Oh, I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. So let's start off with the goalkeeper for you, Robert.
Goalkeeper, I picked Van der Sar. Many to choose from, but I just think the time I was playing against Man U, against the Man United team, he was up there. You know, he really was. He was part of winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League multiple times, and well, I don't think my team ever scored against him, if I'm honest. So that was pretty easy decision with that one.
Yeah, good choice. Considered by so many as one of the best goalkeepers of all time.
Absolutely, and he came to Man U quite late on in his career. I think he came back from Juventus.
Yep.
A few question marks about when he did, change his game. The Premier League is a lot more physical, a lot more balls in the box. I mean, I think he's even taller than I am. I don't think he struggled at all. He just settled in absolutely amazingly.
His biggest strengths, so what do you think those were?
I think his calmness. You could see he was typical with the Dutch side of the football. He was good with the ball on his feet. Yeah. He had obviously an amazing back four in front of him, but yeah, just his calmness. He never looked, rushed or angry, or just always in control, which is what you like as a defender liked having behind me.
Yeah, and also set records. 2008 and 9 World League clean sheet record, not conceding for 1,311 minutes. Stellar.
Yeah, that's some achievement. That is, especially with the strikers the Premier League has. You think your luck runs out, after the 3rd or 4th game, but clearly it wasn't to be against him. Okay,
strong side start. Yeah. All right, let's go to your right back.
My right back is a bit of a surprise, I guess. Ivanovic from Chelsea.
Why a surprise?
Well, I think he wouldn't be on many pundits players lists, but I always was a big fan of how he got about his business. You never hear him talk. He got on with the staff. He played right back for Chelsea, but played centre back at Chelsea. And the goals he scored just completely, emphasised the time he had at Chelsea, the amazing Champions League run they had, and he unfortunately missed the final. But he was just a brood. I mean, talking about the wingers I played with, there's not many that went past him. That's what I was sort of thinking. Who would he be? Gary Neville was in there with a shout. But he really, had Riyad in his pocket. Many other wingers I played with, and as you see there, I mean, he always popped up with not just a goal, always an important goal.
Not a natural right back, though, yes?
Well, no, he was initially signed to be a centre back, but due to having John Terry, Carvalho, Gary Cahill later on in his Chelsea life, he just, he's that good that he just, a bit like my other team, he's good enough to play on the right back. He did an awesome job defending, and he added something going that way.
377 appearances, 34 goals, just behind John Terry. I mean, wow.
Yeah, but my guess would be John Terry had a lot more games, so which proves the point I was making.
Wow.
Goal machine in a true sense of a defender that he was.
Fantastic. All right, who's next?
As a left back, Ashley Cole. Played against him loads of times. Probably more impressed at his Arsenal days, which obviously goes back a long way back. But then when he moved to Chelsea, he didn't quite win as many trophies at Arsenal, hence why he moved to Chelsea. But once he was at Chelsea, once he stepped in the back four, the famous Chelsea back four, he just had everything. And I just remember him playing against Ronaldo. That was just an epic battle. And when I watched this, thinking he's got both. He back defending, absolutely brilliant, and also going forward without hardly getting caught out, going the other way.
Many believe that he was once one of the best left backs in the world. You agree?
I totally agree, yeah. Certainly 2004 to 2008-09, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, to do what he did, to play as many games as he did in that position against so many good wingers, my guess would be 9 times out of 10 he would come out of a battle the winner against the winger, which is doesn't happen that often.
And still going strong. He's playing the MLS, yeah?
Yeah, I think he's loving life out there. I mean, who wouldn't out there?
All right, let's go and complete what's happening in the back.
Yeah, I'm
on the list?
sticking through the middle with the Man United.
Okay.
Rio Ferdinand. Him and Vidic for years and years and years, absolutely bossing it. When you play against him, you just notice the calmness. I don't think I've ever seen him sprint, to be honest, just because he read the game so well. He's always in the right position, stepping in, finding another good pass, and just like I was looking at him going, effectively you play in the same position as me, but I don't think you do. You're just on a different level. I don't know how he does it.
One of the most decorated English footballers of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, he was obviously deserved to be in a Man United team that went on to win so many trophies consecutively, beat Chelsea in the Champions League and so on, and lost a few finals as well along the way, which would have kept up, his career even more.
So you said he was a very intelligent player.
I'd say that part of the game was probably better than the physical part. I don't know whether he relished the physical side of things or he didn't like it, so hence he developed other skills to be a bit more clever in games. He never got into a fight, which is unusual to be in that position, which I'm going to come to the next one in a minute. He was the complete opposite to it.
Exactly. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Really straightforward. Vidic, massive fan. And them two together, I mean, from a defender's point of view, to watch them play or to watch that team play, I mean, he had everything I wanted to be.
Oh, yeah?
Certainly, my time at Stoke, we used to have teams come to us, and you wouldn't know you win, but you'd give it you have a better chance of winning at the Britannia back in the day. And whenever Menu rocked up, he just stepped up another level. It's like, give us a chance here, We used to have a very direct play, and he would, I mean, every home game at the Brit, he would come up man of the match, and Man U would win the game 1-0, thanks to his defending.
And as you said, the perfect partner for Rio.
I think so. Yeah, really. Maybe not the dirty work, but Vidic certainly, if there was a physical fight, he would love it. And to credit to him as well, he read the game really, really well.
And his strength in the air.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I know he looks a big guy there. He's actually not that big in terms of. I mean, he's tall, you know, in the sense of taller than average, but yeah, he shouldn't be winning as many headers or as many direct duels as he did. He just had that unbelievable belief in himself, the I don't feel pain sort of attitude, and he just went in, and when he did, more times than not, he came out as a winner.
Solid at the back. Let's go to the midfield.
On the wing, Ronaldo, sticking with him. He absolutely ripped it up for a few years. Scoring 40 goals a year was just crazy stuff at the time. And I remember when I first came through at Chelsea having to play against him, and it was something. He wasn't fully developed then.
Wow.
But you could see he's going to be a player, and yeah, I mean, he's breaking records left, right, and centre now. He's just an absolutely awesome player.
Unbelievable. You talked about the number of goals that he scored as well. Absolutely prolific. I mean, no surprise that he's named as one of the greatest footballers of all time.
Absolutely not. And you see the goals here. It'd be a free kick, it'd be a header, it'd be a left foot, it'd be running length of the pitch, it'd be in a tight space. He could do, well, he does do anything on a pitch. And he's got that belief in himself that whenever he steps on the pitch, he's going to have an effect on the game, whether it be a goal, assist. I mean, the assist he probably wouldn't be too happy with, but certainly a goal machine, and you know, he's just gone from strength to strength.
Would you say the best ever that you've come up against?
And not one-on-one, because he always used to play on the wing. But certainly when he was in the team, I'd be unhappy if he was in the team. You know, it's going to be a long 90 minutes.
So you've got a terrier in the middle of the park, left midfield?
I've gone for Bale.
Oh, wow.
He used to play a few seasons at Stoke at right back. And that was just when he became really, probably due to me, but that's when he became really, really good. He sort of grew into his physique. The pace he had was scary. I mean, I didn't enjoy it. I was only a couple of times I played right back against him, and I think he scored pretty much every time.
Yeah, and the pace as well, and how you could also just glide past those defenders.
Yeah, a little bit like Mahrez, probably a bit faster, bit more direct, bit more physical, would score a few headers. Because normally when you play against the winger, they're sort of, you're not afraid of a long ball over the top where he's going to climb on top of you and win a header, but he certainly would. He would flick on the ball for his strikers due to his size. He's 6'2", 6'3". So it's a full-on... full package there.
Physical qualities, that left foot.
Yeah, but he scored some goals, hasn't he, with his left foot. And there's always the year where it was 2 minutes to go, you just used to get the ball, cut in and shoot one in from 30-odd yards.
All right, let's go to the centre of the midfield.
Steven Gerrard. Yeah, really all-time great, isn't he? It's no surprise I picked him for that. Played loads of times against him. He scored loads of goals against us, always last minute. I always used to think when we were drawing against Liverpool or even winning, you're like, it's just a matter of time. Matter of time before he gets the ball, picks a pass, finds a teammate, or just like he's done so many times, like an amazing run from deep midfield, or just a shot where he takes the ball down and hits it in from 20 yards, and you think, we've done well, you know, we defended so well for 90 minutes, and he just does that. There you go, against Middlesbrough there. That was another one. So yeah, amazing player, amazing career. Yeah, and amazing goal scorer.
This is a team with a lot of goals in it. Also regarded as one of the greatest midfielders of his generation.
Yeah, I agree, totally agree. Probably I was going to think Paul Scholes, put him in there, but he just shaped it for me. Yeah.
All right, excellent. And also now, in terms of what he's doing, like Frank.
Yeah,
he's a manager now.
Yeah, and he looks really comfortable doing it. He looks like he was as a player, tough. You know, gives you all, expecting the best. And And yeah, it's good to see him doing well. I like seeing ex-players stepping into the game because I think there's a lot of older generations that sort of blocking pathways for now to come through, and hopefully we see him a bit like Lampard. I'm sure the bigger picture for him is to obviously do well at Rangers, but in a few years, you know, lead him out at Anfield.
All right, let's complete the
midfield completed. Yeah.
Oh, one of my faves.
Yeah, absolute tremendous player. Doesn't get the credit I don't think he deserves or gets. Basically, certainly in a time when City came through, you know, the big investment came in. He came in. You know, they wanted to win the Premier League, and you know, he's got a winner against us in the FA Cup, which was devastating for us. Important in that first Premier League win for Man City, scoring the goals, setting them up, absolutely machine, up and down the pitch, just did anything. And that with his size, you know, when you're midfield and only sort of physically differently built than other guys, but he just dominated.
Also very versatile. I mean, he aspired to be a striker in his youth days. Barcelona centre-back, but then box-to-box midfield is what we saw him doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Pep wasn't a big fan of him at Barcelona, but you see him here, I love it, absolute. And you know what? Whenever I played against him, he gave it as good as he got. You know, and it was never a bad feeling. Sometimes there's a bit of a, you know, someone's upset. He was relishing the physical aspect of the game as much as he was good on the ball and setting things up. But he always give you a good solid, you know, that was good. I enjoyed that. And I think he respected that when we brought the A game to him, and he gave it his good back.
Another considered one of the best in the world in his position. So many goals, but let's look at who's going to be doing the job up front.
Yep, Luis Suarez.
Wow.
It's a brilliant few years at Liverpool. Always a nightmare to play against. I was actually happy when he went to Barcelona. I was thinking, thank God for that. I don't have to play against him again. He was really, I mean, never look forward to playing against him. Always, it was horrific. It was tough 90 minutes. He was to me what I was to him. You know, he would kick you, he would bite you, he would literally bite you, but he loved it. He loved the challenge.
He was up for it.
Oh, he was up for it. Yeah, he'd wind you up, then he would dive, and you get even more wound up and trying to kick it even more. But he set the tone for Liverpool that year, and they were desperately close to winning the Premier League. Just missed out at the end. But I mean, he led the line for Liverpool. Absolutely, he worked as hard as anyone that I played against. You know, once the final whistle blew, it's like, you know, happy with that. He's just a workaholic, and the skill he had. You know, you see the clips here, and the finishing, extraordinary. And surprisingly, how Liverpool bought him for relatively cheap money at the time. You know, 20-odd million. You know, cheap at the time. But yeah, he set the Premier League. You know, he ripped it up for a good few years.
Fantastic. All right, and
who
else is going to be getting goals?
Arguably the greatest Premier League player, voted by quite a few, is Henry.
There's a lot of greats in this team.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, played one of my first games at Highbury was against Henry, and luckily he was on the wing, but which gave me the chance to sort of look at him from the far, gliding past the players. I mean, it's just a sensational athlete. He almost invented that inside-out finish where he sort of cuts in, and you know, it's a thing. It's a chain. You know, whoever does it, they all go. That's such an Henry finish, where he went on the outside. Oh, that's a great goal there. Outside, cut in, and just opened his foot up. I mean, once he's in full flow, there's no way of catching him unless you take a yellow.
228 goals for Arsenal, all-time leading goal scorer for them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Even came back after his spell in the MLS, got a few more goals in his return, which doesn't happen very often. You know, once you step out of the Premier League, you sort of level drops a bit. But he came back and managed to still produce, even though having been away from the big league for a few years.
Are there any particular battles that you remember with him or against him?
Not as such, the same reason as Ronaldo. He was always a bit more on the wing, and he'd be too clever to get involved in a physical battle. He's got a great football brain where he could run in behind you, find the spaces in between you and the midfield, get it. Next time you go in, and he would spin in behind you. No, he was too clever for myself.
So you said possibly the greatest ever in the Premier League?
Possibly.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's an obsession by the media always to pick the greatest ever. It's difficult to say. I mean, any of these would be a good value for the greatest players in the Premier League. But like I said, Henry is obviously the famous one, and the goals to score. You're always going to remember them, and I wouldn't be arguing with that if he was.
Lots of titles there that he's won as well. It makes it very difficult to pick a captain for this team.
Yeah, what's either Ferdinand or Vidic for me, but I'm going to go with Vidic. Because I remember playing against, and he was a lot more vocal, probably than Rio was. You could hear him. The second the game started, he would be on there making sure the left back, right back would do their jobs. He was very on it. I don't know whether it's to keep him focused in the game, but you could hear him talk, and he wouldn't let other players rest. Make sure they're always on it.
And who manages this side?
Sir Alex.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course. The spine through the middle, Man United. The titles he won in his career is amazing, and yeah, that's straightforward for me, Sir Alex.
Yeah. What do you think made him the best?
It's a combination of things. Obviously, when he first came over, it was his resilience to think bigger, to make Man U. At the time when he took over, they weren't in a great shape, and it just went lift off. By that, they got more finance, got better players, so on and so on. But he just set it all up. Man United are Man United because of him.
And it was also very good in terms of man management. So to contain or to manage these big personalities, you think he'd be a good individual, yeah?
Absolutely. Once you step into the changing room of Man United, certainly after it had a few years of success, it's, players take care of each other without taking any sort of responsibility away from Sir Alex. But, once they buy you, you know how things work, and you almost just need to look at someone in the eye and go, right, this is how we do it, and yeah, that's how we do it. But yeah, initially, it took a lot of man management to get them where they are now, yeah.
This is a very, very strong side. I mean, look at it, winners all round. And for a team like this, if you have to talk about a chairman or an owner of the team, Khun Vichai, do you think is someone that stood out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talk about when you have an organization or a football club, I always of the opinion that it starts at the top. And it's no more like this. It really started with him at the top at Leicester, and all his ideas, his thoughts, how he wanted it done, it filtered down. So it started with the manager, chief executive, he sort of released it down to us. And tragic events, no doubt, a couple of weeks ago. Still can't believe it, you sort of still see the helicopter taking off after it used to be a thing, my kids used to stay on the pitch after the game just to see it come in and take off, and it's just horrendous news. Great credit how Leicester dealt with the whole situation, and no doubt he'd be remembered by everyone, certainly by me, club, the city and the supporters.
Yeah, you're hearing so much in terms of all the tributes that have been coming in about what a special individual he was.
Yeah, I mean, me being involved in the club, you hear it all the time, but it's a shame that it took such a tragic event for all the great things that he did to come out. But we obviously a big part of it, and he was just a generous person. He wanted improvement around Leicester, communities, hospitals, and he did that. He didn't even want to mention, he just did it. Now that came out obviously through his tragic death, that what a great guy he was. Yeah. We all knew it. It's difficult for the people from the outside to really, believe it, but that's the guy he was.
Yeah, and we're hearing that he was very hands-on as well, very close to the players. I mean, how often, did he come to training sessions? How often was he in that, dressing room when you were playing?
Pretty much every game.
Wow.
Yeah. I've not seen. Obviously, I had contact with chairmen before. Clearly, it's my job. He would come in, and surprisingly, when I first went to Leicester, we were bottom of the league. It's like, who's this happy guy here? Why are you so happy? Why? And he's like, don't worry, it's going to be fine. He walked in the changing room, happy to be there. He just wanted to be part of the football.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, he wasn't a player, but he just wanted to be in there, wanted to feel what it's like, and then he loved it. Let me tell you, he walked in and he enjoyed the lads' culture, which is different to what he's used to, I'd guess. So he stepped in and just anything he could help you with, he would, and he did.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And the tributes continue to come in for a really, really great man. Robert, it's been such a pleasure. Fantastic. You took us on a trip down memory lane, talking about some of your highs and the difficulties as well. Really awesome teams, and so many of you talking about how the two would compare. But one thing we certainly agree on is that they are stellar individuals from a world-class player himself. Thank you so much, Robert, and looking forward to hearing where you'll be moving to next. Till next time, it's goodbye from us.